Welcome back. We are on Blistering Sands. Ace is in the bottom left as the blue Protoss in the top right. We have Moon as the red Zerg. As you were saying, Dario, there's so many aggressive openings on this map that I think Ace is going to be a little uncomfortable that he can't early expand again. So he's going to respond to that by early expanding.
Yeah, it really strikes me. I mean, he probably practiced the map a lot. So if he can pull it off right and scouts correctly, he can still defend an all-in attack if he expands just by spamming cannons at both entrances.
Yeah, the one thing I'm a little worried about is that Ace doesn't strike me as too much of a two-basing hardcore player. He really does like to take a third base somewhat early at a very reasonable time. So if he does build too many cannons, he's kind of committing himself to a certain style of play. But there are ways of opening on this map. There's a lot of Blink Stalker styles that are very strong. In particular, the most important spot on the map for Protoss is this southern watchtower. You can almost lock down all of Zerg's movement by controlling that.
Yeah, absolutely. And it looks like he's not putting down any warp gate or any force so far, so he might actually go for a double Nexus.
Looks like Ace might be going for the very awesome Nexus on 15 strategy, but we do see some more probes getting queued up, so that likely is going to mean he's going to be going Forge first, but still, these distances between the mains are actually very, very long, so Ace might very well just do a Nexus first and say, go me.
No, he is putting down a Forge now, so he's completely making us look bad, but
that's okay. You know what? Still doing the Forge first going to be quite tough. Again, for any of you who are unfamiliar with Blistering Sands, these backdoor destructible rocks are bad for a number of reasons. First of all, when they're down, you have to worry about this entrance to the back of your base. Also, the amount of space here limits how many cannons you can plant, limits the amount of wall-offs you can do, making it more vulnerable. And also, often what players do is just hit these destructible rocks, and once they're down, they just attack the front of your base because you already sent everything behind to defend.
Yeah, and Ace is going to have a really low count on warp gate units, so he really has to rely on static defense. I mean, if you have warp gate units, you can at least be a little bit dynamic, like sending units at the top to the bottom, but he's only going to have cannons and 1 or 2 sentries.
Yeah, you know, I think what would be wise for Ace to do really early on here is to try to do some sort of 5 warp gate push, not just so he can, do the obvious damage, but he can control this area of the map, which again helps protect his own backdoor rocks.
And Moon is actually going to get a Roach Warren from 1 base.
Wow, look at that. The 1 base Roach Warren. Looks like Moon is not having as much confidence in his long-term play. He is instead trying to go for some sort of very early rush, and oh no, Ace is going to spot that there's no expansion, so now Ace is getting real suspicious that there's something coming up.
Yeah, he's going to invest every single bit of minerals into cannons and into getting more and more units. I think he might actually stop producing probes, I mean.
Looks like he's chrono boosting a few probes for now, but as you were saying, Dario, he does have this pylon at the back of his base, and he's going to need to start getting cannons there real soon. We do see the Zerglings for Moon beginning to pop out. We see Moon still mining gas. Sometimes players go for an economic opening. They get just a couple of roaches, take guys off gas, and then expand, but no way. Moon looks like he is trying to go all in.
Yeah, he started attacking the rocks, which I think he should have done way earlier, but still, it's not going to take too long to take them down at all.
And at the same time, look at this, another Stargate popping out for Ace. It looks like he's going to try to sidestep this whole bout of pressure coming up from Zerg by trying to get Void Rays very quickly. And Ace has not even built a cannon at the back of his base.
I think he's just going to sacrifice his main, saying, okay, Zerg, you only have 1 base. I'm going to play on 1 base as well, but have higher tech than you.
And look at this. That's absolutely what he's doing. Look at all these cannons going down for Ace. Does he even know that these can fall down? This is crazy that Ace is just going to completely sacrifice his main. But look at this. This Cybernetics core is actually vulnerable. He can kill that Cybernetics core out of range of these cannons.
Yeah, but it doesn't seem like Moon actually knows he could do that.
Wow, Moon looks like he's giving Ace a little bit too much credit at this point. We do see that Stargate with the Void Ray is just now finished. Ace would have been wise to build these 2 assimilators at his expansion instead of in the main. And it looks like Moon is going to take down the destructible rocks.
Yeah, he's going to be pouring in any second, and the probes are being slided to the natural, making sure he's not going to lose a single probe.
Whoa, what an unusual play. And Moon gets to the base and says, wait a minute, aren't there supposed to be probes here? There's just a few remaining right now. All the probes retreating, and there's the money force field by Ace. And look at this. He's building a gateway at some point. There it goes down, zoning all the Zerglings into these cannons.
Yeah, and look at it. I mean, Ace was losing a lot of probes, but Moon still has less.
Looks like Moon's going to try to go for a huge bust, manages to pick off one cannon, but the second cannon is in an amazing spot. The Void Ray is now darting up to try to pick it off. These roaches now pull to the backside, and we see that Moon is essentially committed to sticking to this one base, and Ace still has this Nexus.
Yeah, but it's taking a lot of damage by Zerglings. Void Ray is arriving to defend now, but it's just so weak against Zerglings, and more are pouring in.
Looks like more Zerglings from Moon. Not really going to be able to do too much directly, but Moon is going to try to do his best to pick off this Nexus, to try to delay mining as much as possible, while more Zerglings and Roaches from Moon hit the front.
Ace needs to make sure he's going to build an additional pylon at his cannons, because he actually only has one pylon powering 2 cannons.
And we see that Forge is very close to being taken out. The Zerglings continuing to do rings around the main. Moon trying to expand that creep out a little bit. More target firing on the Nexus. The Forge has fallen. The Cybernetics core has fallen. That means it's only Zealots right now for Ace. Moon has to be playing this very carefully. He's taking a lot of damage at the front, but he will be able to take out that main Nexus.
Yeah, and now finally Moon decided to expand himself. His drone count is extremely low, but Ace had to invest a lot in defending here.
Yeah, and right now we're going to have to see a lot of Queens come out by Moon if he wants to deal with this ever-increasing air unit count from Ace.
Yeah, and there are some overlords on the field too, which are completely undefended and helpless.
Does look like the Zergling Roach mix that are on the middle of the map for Moon are going to try to run around as much as possible, just delay the opponent. Moon is actually not building another Queen. Ooh, that could actually be potentially fatal.
Yeah, he's going to have 2 Queens, but that's not enough against 2 Void Rays actually.
There's the 3rd Queen for Moon finally coming out, and again we're going to see Moon go into mass drone mode. A lot of crazy games in this tournament.
Yes, indeed. And the Void Rays are about to attack the hatchery. They're going to be charged up before Queens even get into range.
Uh-oh. And it looks like, yep, there they are, beginning to pick away at that hatchery. And oh no, is Moon actually going to have to cancel this hatchery? We see a 3rd Queen about to pop out, but Moon's going to try to do a little run and shoot Micro as best he can. He has to be careful. There's a Phoenix coming in. He can lift up one of those Queens, and there it gets lifted. He needs to do a transfuse. No, the Queen ends up getting picked off, but that's the only lift that Ace has in his back pocket right now. Once we see the 2nd Queen with transfuse come into the fray, it can do a little bit more damage, but man, Moon just needed to make those Queens a few seconds earlier.
Yeah, and he only has 2 Queens. There's a 2nd Phoenix coming in, so he can once again lift up a Queen now.
And look at that. There is almost all the Overlords for Moon gone. Moon now trying to move in, gets lifted again. Can he get off a transfuse? No, it was actually the healthier Queen, and oh, it looks like the last remaining Queen will not be able to withstand. There comes the 4th Queen that Moon has made this game. It gets picked off, and Moon is just scrambling to do anything he can to stay in this game.
Yeah, but it's not going to be enough. There's a 5th Queen coming in. Once more, a Queen is being picked up, and now everything is just dying.
And there now the drone's trying to pull away, and there's the good game. Ace manages to take the win on Blistering Sands.
I mean, did you think he was actually hoping Moon would play like that?
You know, I think it's one of those contingency plan things. If your opponent does something very normal, very early expand, mass drone oriented, oh, he's pointing to the trophy. Wow, look at that confidence.
Yeah, he is extremely confident. I mean, look at him.